Welcome back to another episode of Hello, Ladies, where feminism meets pro wrestling. I'm your hostess with the mostest, and I have a special guest today, Miss Priscilla. Here comes the pain.
Hi, everyone.
Priscilla is returning to the podcast, to do what we love doing, talking about the live shows we've gone to. And this time it was TNA's Slammiversary.
Yes, and I'm just realizing now that this completes the trifecta. I've been to WWE, AEW, and now TNA.
Yep. And I think, oh no, we haven't been to the mega one of AEW's, but we've done WrestleMania, we've done Slammiversary, which is TNA's big one. So now I guess we'll have to wait until an all in or an all out comes. I can't remember which one is the big one.
Ye- Yeah, and honestly, I thought it was all in, but apparently it might be all out. But again, people disagree on that. I think maybe it's that they're both the big one.
We'll take either one.
Yes.
Yes. Um, but let's see, I think what was it? We did Forbidden Door and World's End, right?
Yeah, because
And Full
they
Gear?
come to New York.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Full Gear. So we've done three out of their or did we do a Dynasty too?
Yeah, they came to Philly for that one.
Okay, yeah, yeah, but um, so talking TNA, it
Mhm.
was at the UBS arena, right? I almost said USB, and that's different. Um,
Yeah.
and we've actually so if you've heard Priscilla and I talk about our experiences going to wrestling shows before. There's usually a kerfuffle involved. We were kerfuffle free this time. We got there early. Um, Although we still managed to walk in when they were doing the women's tag match, but 'cause that's what they opened the pay-per-view with. Well, I guess the pre-show, not the pay-per-view, technically.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was part of the pay-per-view until they came out and announced that it was starting. And I was like, okay, I just figured the women's tag match, because it was for the title, would have been the pay-per-view, but okay.
Yeah, because it was that and Hometown Guy, he was on the pre-show too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Which that is a fun little gimmick. I like the
Hmm.
music and all of that. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Very John Mellencamp. Like the music for him is entrance music.
Huh. That's why it sounded familiar. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. I don't think that is John Mellencamp. I don't think TNA has John Mellencamp money.
Honestly, I loved it because I'm like watching him come out and then it dawns on me, oh, okay, he's like the personification of a cheap pop, I guess. And I just love that whole idea because the last fun gimmick that I remember from TNA, and this is going back years ago, was when Christopher Daniels was Curry Man. I
Oh,
loved him.
yeah. Yeah, I guess uh why can't I think of him? He's their French Canadian Frankenstein. I want to say CPO, but that's not it. Or maybe it is. But yeah. I wouldn't say it's a different kind of fun gimmick. Definitely more
Yeah,
serious, more gonna mess you up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a good match, very solid. I felt as though, Eric Young performed brilliantly. I also loved his promo for the match. Like, he was hilarious.
hmm Um, I will say, like, I feel like this card was done very well. There wasn't really like a weak spot, it felt like.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and as someone who and I think you're in the same boat, like neither one of us have watched TNA week to week, and it was still like easy to follow, easy to get behind.
Yes, and I think a lot of that should go to the fact that they do broadcast the announcers from time to time. So that's what really helped me, just them
Hmm.
catching me up and then also seeing certain backstage segments. So I kind of felt like, even though I haven't watched TNA Weekly in, oh goodness, God knows how long, I didn't feel lost in the sauce, and I kind of picked who I could back based off the information provided.
Yeah, I absolutely love that they did like the announcer. Sometimes not during the matches. It was in between, like the audience could hear. We were also part of TNA's largest audience ever, which was awesome. The like crowd was very into everything that was going on. It was a very lively crowd, which is always great to be a part of. And not surprising being Long Island. Um obviously had their favorites, like when Zack Ryder came out, everyone lost their minds, or Matt Cardona rather. Um, there was Santana, of course.
Hmm.
Um, was there anybody else that was from? I feel like there was somebody else from Long Island or New York that people got excited from before.
Trying to think. I do know that people from New Jersey even got a good reaction, and that's for all of you who say New Yorkers don't like New Jersey people. Yes, we do. We're just bullying you because we love you.
It's like the little cousin or something.
Yeah,
You shit on them a little bit, but you're the only ones who are allowed to do it.
of course, of course.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, the show kicked off. Who came out for like the first official match? I could have looked up the card. That would have been helpful.
It's funny because I feel like I remember every match. I just don't remember them in order, but I do think I think Matt Cardona did open the show. Um,
Yeah,
I also remember, I think that was the system match, if I remember correctly.
yeah, let's see. We had oh no, so it was are these? Yeah. So it would have Enzo Amore. Also,
Mm,
someone who got a hometown reaction. Um, Zilla Fatu, who Jeff Hardy did paint his face. Um, and Josh Bishop versus um, Steve Macklin, Jake something, and Mance Warner with Stephanie Delander, of course. Um, yeah, that
solid.
it's so bizarre though, like seeing Enzo as not Enzo, but literally doing everything the same. Um, that's I don't know how I feel about that. Like he took a lot of time off of wrestling, but I
Mhm.
think as much as I hate to give Chris Jericho props, like I appreciate that he always reinvented himself. He wouldn't be doing the same
Right.
shit 10 years later. Um, like it was exactly the same, like same catchphrase, like everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, and honestly, it was one of those things where truthfully I didn't watch a lot of his work as Enzo, but it felt very familiar from what I do remember. And I mean, I'm still calling him Enzo. I have no idea what his new name is.
Real one
Oh,
with the
well.
number one.
Mm,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, that's all we have to say on that. Um,
yeah.
then of course, Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander. This is a match. I mean, we've seen it for a while, right? Them were in like well, no, not NXT necessarily, but on 205 Live, I think on the main roster even, and certainly the Cruiserweight Classic. Um, I think I love everything Mustafa Ali is doing in TNA in general. And they're also a match, like the two of them together work so well. Like I'll watch them any day of the week. They put on a banger.
Honestly, that match was one of those matches that it's kind of like when you watch Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, where you don't care how many times you've seen it. You always want to see it because you know that there's going to be things that they do that's familiar, but then there's also going to be things that are shocking.
Yeah. And their styles are complementary. They know each other really well. You can tell there's like a lot of trust between them, like as performers. Um, yeah, and I love them. So I loved seeing both of them spotlighted on a pay-per-view like that.
Yeah. And one thing I did love is that the match finish, I felt as though because it was such a back and a forth, you couldn't say for certain who you thought was going to win. And I just felt like they kept pivoting and pivoting right up until the end.
Yeah, even with all of the interference.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'm remembering now, Mustafa Ali's entrance was the first one once they did like after TNA did their opening. So this was the first official match because I remember the flags and watching them come out like while
Yeah.
they were doing all that. So um yeah, then we went into Matt Cardona in the system. Um
Mhm.
I feel like is no, I don't think anybody else from there was on, but they were against the NXT team, Dark State, and I don't know anything about Dark State at all.
Yeah. I kind of felt like, and this is not to insult the ensemble. Like, I love it when teams look the same, but it felt like you knew who was going to win. Like, oh, the team where everyone looks unique versus people who look like henchmen 1 through 4.
Yeah, yeah, 1,000%. Nothing stood out about any of them. Um, Not great. I mean, the wrestling was fine, but like I don't know any of them. And they lost, which was the right call, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, then we had Indy Hartwell versus Tessa Blanchard with our Alicia Fox in her corner. It feels very tacky that they have well, Victoria Crawford now is what she goes by, but her come out with the racist, like, oh, I'm not racist. I have a black friend.
And especially because, from what I understand, Tessa did the whole usual thing of, I didn't do it. And then when it came out undeniably that she did do it, she was like, oh, well, I'm not sorry. So it's like, you're going to say all that, but then, if you want forgiveness, you have to apologize first. But she wants the forgiveness without the apology. So she's like, I'll just come out with a black person and you know, this is just my personal opinion. I do know that black wrestlers will pretty much just put up with a lot of things just to get a job, get a paycheck. And I also know a little bit about Victoria Crawford's, own struggles within wrestling. And I don't think that if Victoria Crawford were in a better position, she would have agreed to that. Like, case in point, would Jade Cargill agree to that? Would Bianca Belair? No, because they don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I'm a very big believer in like the apology has to be as loud as the offense. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't even think she wants forgiveness. I think she wants people just to forget.
Mm,
Like, because she doesn't think she did anything wrong. Racists
yeah,
don't think that they're the ones in the wrong.
yeah, that is
Uh,
true.
so yeah, and like full transparency, the reason I don't watch TNA week to week anymore is because they brought Tessa back, and the second they did that, I unsubscribed and sent put in like the box that she was why. Just like absolutely not. Like it's bad enough you got like other problematic people on your roster. Um,
Mm.
it's actually really amazing to me that TNA has probably the most problematic roster to date. Like of the major-ish wrestling companies, which is saying something because WWE is in that conversation.
Right.
Um, but I loved that Indy was spotlighted. And I also and that she won. But I like that the crowd was chanting "She's a racist" at Tessa. Um, and there was something else, I forget what, that was being chanted at her that was like, oh, it had fuck in it. What was it for her or was it for somebody else? Because the kid behind us started chanting it. I
Oh yeah,
remember.
right before yeah, oh dang. Because his
Um,
parents told him to stop.
yep. Let me see. I'm gonna. Okay. Yep. Here we go. Um, fuck her up, Indy. Fuck her up. That's what it
Yeah.
was. And there was like the kid was probably about 5, sitting right behind me, and he'd been doing cheers. So, all of a sudden, I hear, um, like he's listening to try and figure out what it is. And then he goes, Indy, fuck. And her, you just hear both parents go, nope, nope, we don't say that word. And I was like, what? They're chanting. And it was just one of those like perfect moments. But yeah, then it switched to the she's a racist. So, but I was glad to see that the crowd was giving Indy the love she deserves and Tessa the hate she deserves.
Yeah.
Um, I think right after that they moved right into the other women's match, right? Because there were only two on the well, three total, but two on like the main event card.
Yes, I'm pretty sure JC Jane was next, or Masha.
Yeah. This was so it was a good match, but it was an interesting decision to
Mm,
have JC win. Um I because obviously later on in the night, Trick Williams retained, and it's just like both your men's and your women's championship now are held by someone outside of your company. Like that sucks for
mhm.
the wrestlers who are not in a developmental brand. Like the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that I watch NXT enough to really give a concrete opinion on, some people say Masha should have been double champ, that she's paid more of her dues than JC Jane. Truthfully, I wouldn't know. I don't have that deep of an understanding of modern day TNA or NXT, but just being someone that looks at the optics of that. Like you enter this partnership with TNA and the top champions in TNA are not, like you said, not from TNA.
Mhm.
So it makes me wonder, down the line, what will be the ultimate payback? Like, how are you going to make TNA look good? How are you going to repay them for this partnership.
Yeah. And I mean, clearly the partnership is paying off for TNA. When I went to see them a year ago, the partnership had really just kind of started rolling, and I got front row seats for $100. I mean, it wasn't a pay-per-view, it was like a regular show, but like versus I think we paid over 100 for our seats, like a piece, right? Or right around there. So, and we were not front row.
Yeah.
Um, we were on like I mean we had good seats but like not floor seats. So um and a record breaking crowd for them. So like it is clearly paying off, but like weird choice just the same. Um I mean, I imagine there'll be like a big comeback and all of that and that'll make it worth it, I hope. But yeah, poor Masha. And in front of her parents too.
And from what I've seen of her, I thought all of her moves were seamless. And, it's one of those things where when I watch wrestling, just like when I watch a movie, like if you can take me out of the element and engage me in such a way where I'm emotionally invested, I'm already a fan. And everything with Masha, like she made everything look easy, which just tells me how great she is.
Yeah, the two of them put on a great show. Um, and JC did Sasha Banks's like little dance with the belts afterwards, which I immediately clocked. I was like, that's a Sasha Banks move. Dance, Mercedes Monet, whatever you want to call her. Um, doing it better than she does it now. So, but um after the ladies, we had Leon Slater versus Moose for the X Division Championship. Um, that was not a match that I thought was going to go that way. Um, but it was a really good match as well. Like I enjoy Moose in general. He sold really well for Leon towards the end of that match.
Yeah, that was like if I had to explain to someone why I like pro wrestling, despite the fact that it's predetermined, I would show them that match because I feel as though that shows you that you're not just watching a combat, you're watching a storyline. Because I love the idea of, Moose wants to be the longest reigning champ, but then you have someone who wants to be the youngest. So you have two people trying to prove something,
Hmm.
and you have the clear underdog, and you just have him not give up at all during any point of the match. Like you see him take nothing but abuse from this much bigger guy. And then everything about that ending was perfect. I really loved seeing Moose put the title on Leon because to me, when you see that, it kind of just shows you, it kind of like creates the setting of the bigger guy that you thought, oh, well, he's going to win for sure, got his ass beat so bad that he had nothing to do left to do but respect the guy who beat him up.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was a show of respect, and we don't. I mean, we see it in wrestling, but we don't get to see it a lot. That was really Moose putting like his stamp of approval on Leon, and then having AJ Styles come out to his old music and the crowd losing it. And him really like again putting his stamp of approval on Leon. Wait, I think we were all waiting for AJ to like turn on him, but that did not happen, surprisingly.
I was happy it didn't happen because I really do like to see passing of a torch. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm more familiar with AJ Styles in TNA and right now, but as you know, I went like on a wrestling hiatus, so I miss like evil AJ Style in WWE.
Hmm.
So all I know of AJ Styles is that he was the good guy, except for that one time with Cody Rhodes. But it was nice to see good guy AJ doing what, I knew him for back in TNA, OG TNA, I guess I should say.
Yeah, yeah. I also want to just say, like, I think one of my favorite AJ Styles moments, is watching him lose a video game and completely crash out. Like, in that moment, he is not an adult. He is a 12-year-old boy who's just like, dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah,
I can.
it was definitely a nice moment having him come back, and it's something that he deserves as well as the fans. Like, he being one of the people that like built TNA, and then getting to be there for like its largest crowd seems
Mhm.
fitting, very much so. Um, then we had the match that we both were looking forward to the most, the Hardy Boys, versus the Nemeths versus the Rascals, versus First Class in a ladder match for the tag team belts. Um, and they did a pretty good job with the build to this because they were saying like the Hardys were like, we're getting towards the end here. Like if, we might be looking towards retirement, this might be our last title shot. Um, and just like that, like worry because they've been doing this since 1992. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
it could be like we're getting to the point where, I mean, you and I may have just watched them for the last time. Although there's talk that they're going to be at SummerSlam, which crossing everything with that. But um, yeah, I did not cry as much as I thought I was going to when they first came out. Just a few tears, just a few tears. But getting to see them do their entrance and like the place, the roof, like you could tell they were the reason for the house that night, for
Yeah.
sure. Not to take anything away from anybody else, but yeah, they were the reason. They were the reason we were there.
100%. And if there's anything I could criticize TNA for that night was not letting us know sooner that we could have met the Hardys because I would have been more prepared. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, they never let anyone know who the meet and greets are going to be that night. It's like once you get there, you can see like who you can buy. They also should have limited the number, not just because of the fans, but like
mm,
so the we left before 11:30 from our seats and got in line. We didn't get out of there until 2:30, right? No, 1:30,
2:30.
2:30, yeah. So I mean. And as tired as we were, like, we didn't have to wrestle in a ladder match. Like, they were like limping away for a break at one point. So,
Yeah, there was a part of me that, I was excited, but when I saw that they needed a break, I was like, ooh, because especially with Jeff, you could tell like his eyes were drying out. He kept
mhm.
blinking. And, Matt put on a good face. Like, I will always say, like, his fake smiles look genuine, but you could tell they wanted to go home.
Yeah, they wanted a little nappy nap, like, and they deserved it too. That was the longest match of the night. Like, I'm looking, assuming that the times are correct on um Wikipedia, which who knows. But they had the longest match by like 2 minutes, it looks like. They
Oh,
were at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Um, which the latter match definitely felt shorter than other ones that I've seen in like specifically WWE. I feel like WWE tends to have the longer ladder matches out of like the three major companies in the US. Um, But I feel like these teams worked really well together. AJ Francis doing that backwards flip off of
Yes.
like completely blind on everyone. That was like a real like moment because he nearly hit the corner of the one ladder. That was a scary moment. The Hardys, of course, did some crazy stuff. I found out afterwards, Nick Nemeth is formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, is afraid of heights. Like he's terrified of heights, and he's always being put in ladder matches, like throughout his career.
You wouldn't know.
No, no, you wouldn't. And I was also really excited because I love Ryan Nemeth, and I was glad to see like that I also got to see the Nemeths as a tag team together because that's something I've wanted to see. Obviously, seeing the Hardys wrestle in a ladder match was the biggest draw of all, but
Yes.
and I'm sorry if you're hearing Cheddar snore. He is like right under me, snoozing.
Oh,
His bed is over there, which is nice and comfy, but why would he use that?
well, mom is not over there.
It's true. Yeah. And he's traumatized from the potato that I accidentally set on fire in the microwave. So, yeah.
You're
Um,
fine.
how did you feel about the ladder descending from the ceiling when Jeff did his little dance? Like, I feel like in only TNA can you make Jeff Hardy do a magic dance that drops a ladder. Like that's what it looked like because Matt went to go get a big one from the back.
Honestly, I had no idea what was happening, and it's happening right in front of me. And I don't know if it was because of how the light was hitting that ladder, or I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I couldn't see the ladder at first until someone said, "Why is there a helicopter ladder descending?" And I don't know why I thought this. I thought Jeff was going to do something where he ran up a ladder into the ring. I didn't know what was happening until I started seeing him climb.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's what they mean by the helicopter ladder. And I think what it was so shocking to me that I ended up liking it.
It reminded me of so those who remember Fear Factor from back in the day, there was an episode where WWF was on it and Team Extreme was part of it. And Jeff Hardy, one of the things was it was a helicopter. You had to climb up it while it's like twisting and stuff above the Hudson River or something. And yeah. And everyone was like, oh, he's going to make it to the end. He's probably going to win this. He fell like pretty quickly because he didn't use his legs. He just used upper body strength and he did
Mhm.
not make it. He fell during that one. Um, so Matt was actually the one who made it all the way to the end and was the winner. Um, but yeah, so Jeff had his redemption from Fear Factor, I feel, by climbing that ladder and winning the belts from there as Matt held um the bottom of the ladder still. Was it you that was like, who is that random guy holding the ladder? Was that you or was that Tyler?
I think it might have been Tyler, but I also was looking, I'm like, yeah, who is that? And it's like, wow, I don't recognize Matt Hardy apparently.
From the back, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I will say like the Hardys still are like they did spots, right? Like they did some crazy spots still, but it wasn't like what we were seeing them do 20 years ago. Rightfully
Mhm.
so. I'm glad
Mhm.
that it seemed like everyone kind of took care of each other in this match. Not that people are trying to kill each other usually, but um and then, of course, having Bubba Ray come out after the match to announce that him and Devon are going to take on the Hardys one last time um, at Bound for Glory. And everyone's like, does Devon know this? Because he's not here. Um,
Yeah, it's funny because the people in front of us was were they were making jokes like, Oh, Devon's calling Bubba right now, asking him what the hell.
Hmm. Like, no, 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 no. I'm retired. I guess Devon has come out and said like the Hardys are the only ones he would trust his health with at this point. I'm like,
Mm,
if we're at a point where we're using that phrasing, perhaps we shouldn't be having matches. Just saying. But I mean, I in 2025, we are going like the Hardys are tag champions. They're going to have a
mhm.
match against the Dudleys or Team 3D. Um, and Edge and Christian are clearly going to be getting back together in a different
Yep.
promotion. Like this would have been unthinkable. Like when we were kids, there were no tag teams that were still together or getting back together after 30 years. Like
Yeah.
wrestlers are just going longer and not because like they have to because
Mhm.
of like debt or they have no other way of feeding themselves or their families, but because they've been able to take care of their bodies for so long, which is nice to see.
Oh, yeah.
Any other thoughts about this particular match before we move on to the main event?
Honestly, I started off not caring about any other team. And the fact that I now know and care about the Rascals in first class, I mean, that just tells everyone the performance they put on because I was there for the Hardys. I was like, I don't even care about these people, but they made me care about them. I thought the Rascals were a great element of chaos because right around when everyone was trying to go for the belt, they showed up to foil the plans. Also impressed with oh, you just said his name. Whoever Top Flight is now.
AJ
Um,
Francis?
thank you. I felt like he really took a lot of bumps, like especially that last one where he like went, his legs went through the ladder,
Oh
like
yeah.
absolutely brutal. And I always knew that Nick Nemeth was great, but now I see that Ryan Nemeth is also good. So you see, I don't, I feel like everything was match of the night for different reasons, but I feel like in a lot of ways, those other three tag teams to stand out in a ladder match against the Hardys, that's no small feat.
Yeah, I was gonna mock you for a second until like you mentioned the Nemeth brothers because you're like I didn't even they made me care about and you named everyone but the Nemeths. You're like I've always hated Dolph Ziggler. Rash. No. Um and I said this I think when we were at the show, but like I've been lucky enough that I have seen Nick Nemeth wrestle more times than I can count. And I am always like pumped to see his matches. I'm always super engaged by what he is doing. Um, and that has not changed. I mean, he was able to hold his own in a, and as was Ryan in a tag team match with the Hardys and like two other teams. So, um, yeah, everyone did phenomenal. AJ Styles. Um, and then our last match, our main event, we
Mhm.
had Trick Williams, Joe Hendry, and Santana for the TNA World Championship. Joe Hendry's entrance, so fun, of course. Everyone got up, everyone was waving their hands. Um, Mike Santana came down through the crowd near us, which was great.
Yes.
Um, Everyone was super behind him because New York, the Bronx, who doesn't love that man? Um, and then Trick Williams. Everyone loved his entrance, right? Everyone was whoop that trick, whoop that trick. Once the match started, it was like, we want you dead, sir. No, no, nay, nay. Thanks for coming. Hometown boy had best win, which, spoiler alert, he did not at all.
Yeah. And I know some people felt as though the end was abrupt, but I think what it
Smart.
is that we expected the main event to go on for longer, but in terms of, Trick Williams being the heel and his titles on the line and it's a triple threat match, and you would take that advantage. And I did like how they did it because I was going back and forth like, oh man, it looks like he's really injured. But then I was like, no, if he's really injured, why are they taking so much time? And I'm like, no, he has to be injured. And like I like that they made me question my own sanity.
Yeah, like when like especially him and Joe Hendry played it really well and that ref because from where we were sitting when Joe Hendry goes to throw him in and really can't, him and Santana then are really like acting like, oh, we're making shit up on the fly. Like it was
Yeah.
very like we know that this is all predetermined. We know like that you think you know how things go.
Hmm.
And even like when they're pulling Trick out, how they did it, a few steps and like they were really relying on the fact that a lot of these fans know that we don't have the money that WWE has. So, maybe we can't have someone come down. He does need time to like get back. Um, and it was just brilliantly done so that when he did slide in for the 1, 2, 3, my jaw dropped. Because by that point I was just like, yeah, I guess he really is injured.
Yeah, and it's funny because normally when the crowd is silent, I think, oh no, people are mad, but we were silent because we were like, wait, what
Hmm.
just happened?
You got us. You got us. Like, and I love those moments where as a wrestling fan, I can be surprised like that.
I love it too because to be honest, and this might be a controversial opinion, I kind of hate that wrestling fans know too much now because I find that some of us go too far with our apparent knowledge. And I just like it when promotions do stuff that can just shut us up and force us back to being fans instead of pretending like we're insiders with all the knowledge available.
Yeah, 1,000%. Um, yeah, I like still being able to like I like that, especially using like social media and stuff. They're really big on like working the fans. So that we don't know like where that line is, and it's very much so up to the
Mhm.
individual wrestler. Um, it's so fun, and I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if every wrestler loves it or not, but I think probably younger ones do, ones who grew up with social media.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine like boomer wrestlers probably not.
Undertaker is not amused
It's one of the first I thought of. I could imagine. I don't want to know Ric Flair's opinions.
on anything, honestly. Except for how proud he is of Charlotte. He can always pop up, say how proud he is of Charlotte, and then go away. But um any remaining thoughts?
Honestly, that was amazing. I felt as though it was. This is going to be shade. I felt as though it was enough matches to justify calling it a pay-per-view, but I wasn't sitting there thinking, "Oh God, when is it over?"
Yeah, like I enjoy because that was a shot at Tony Khan. I enjoy that with Tony Khan and AEW shows, like you get your money's worth and then some, right? But at this point, like pay-per-views, when I watch them at home and they're AEW ones, I'm breaking them up into 2 days. Like I can't sit and do a full work day's worth of wrestling. Like my attention, it can't. I'm sorry. Um, it's hard. And being in the stadium for that, it makes me grumpy. Makes me grumpy.
Yeah.
Especially when some of the matches you can tell were just thrown together to get more people on the card, which is great because they get paydays and whatnot, but like I don't we don't need it. Um, so Priscilla and I will also be going to SummerSlam together, so maybe I'll be able to drag her back on the podcast for a recap for that.
And to think that's actually next weekend. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, we're like a week and a half out, so.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm. I love the wrestling. It's a wrestling summer.
I'm glad for that because honestly, like I said, 10 years ago, that was like during the height of my wrestling hiatus. And to be honest, the only reason why I came back is because you had asked me the one year, are you watching the Women's Royal Rumble?
Mhm.
And my mind broke. I'm like, women Royal Rumble? They allow that?
Yeah, they
But
do indeed. They do indeed. Mm.
like next they'll allow us to vote. Holy hell.
Let's not get crazy
But I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's really women's wrestling that got me back into wrestling and just seeing that now we have like three promotions we can enjoy. And it's just a good time to be a wrestling fan again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wrestling is cool again, which is interesting. Because now because it's everywhere, I have people sending me who know nothing about wrestling, sending me stuff that have like sound bites or whatever from wrestling. And they're like, "Did you see this?" I'm like, "I did. I did in fact see this, but thank you."
Honestly, yes, I have people who know who Joe Hendry is, and they're like, do you know this guy? Like, I heard he's a wrestler. Do you know where he wrestles for? I'm like, I do know this man, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like I believe I know where he wrestles, yes. Uh, Alrighty. Are you ready for the sign off?
I hope I get it right this time.
Okay, it's not the John Cena one. It's Willow Nightingale.
The Lord and Savior.
Yes. So, in the name of our Lord and Savior, Willow Nightingale,
Nightingale.
the babe with the power, power of voodoo, hoodoo, you do, nothing matters, smile anyway.
Love it.